Hi everybody, Msfs here. So welcome to the start of a new series where I'm going to use another career add-on to the flight simulator world called Neofly. Some of you may have been following the FS Economy series and seen that in about 3 weeks I've kind of determined, not sure that I like it that much. So Neofly is kind of a hybrid. It offers both a free and a little bit of an upgrade to a paid version, but the paid version just kind of seems to speed you along a little bit. I don't know that it totally gives you things you can't do in the free version, other than I think you might not be able to actually start an airline or something without buying the add-on. But for now, at least, in Neofly, I'm going to just go ahead and use the free version. So I've played around a little bit just to get familiar with the interface and the program and so forth. So this is kind of, call it my test pilot, where I went ahead and worked through it. But my intent here is to start another pilot and then go forward with that. And we'll see where it takes us. So you'll go ahead, if you're interested, you'll find Neofly, you'll install it. And then you'll kind of get to the point here and you get to create a new pilot. Career mode is what we're going to look at. And so you see here, start as an ambitious bush pilot who only has access to basic missions. Can you work your way up through the ranks? As you gain money and experience, you'll be able to purchase new aircraft, gain higher qualifications, and fly new mission types. And then you have to choose the version that you have of Microsoft Flight Simulator. I just have standard, but if you have another one, you'd pick that. That will determine the type of planes you have available. And so as a career, you're able to get a starter aircraft that you basically don't need to buy. So looking through the choices I have, I'm most familiar and comfortable with just a basic Cessna 152, so I'm going to go with that. So the next step is you choose your avatar, call sign, and starting airport. All right, so they give you several dozen choices, and they've got women along with men, so obviously choose what you feel you want to choose. I'm going to go with this guy. All right, and so as you can see, we've got $5,000. We're at career mode just like we were here, and we're going to go with Mature Simmer 770 as our call sign, and we're starting at a little local airport in Ohio. So then you go in, we're going to go in and start a pilot, and then Neofly will load up, so it shouldn't normally take too terribly long. All right, and I'm going to make this full screen just so it's not confusing with things behind it and so forth. But every time you come in, and you can turn things off and basically say, hey, I'm not going to show the message again. If you're just getting started, kind of like I am, I'd encourage you to just leave it alone, and that way you can make sure you understand. But every time you go into a different menu item, it's going to bring up this tip. So the jobs panel is where we're starting. So we're going to find all the jobs that are suited to your pilot and chosen aircraft. Your pilot rank, location, and earnings can be seen at the top and your current aircraft just below. Working down the page, you'll then see a row of filters. These filters will help you pick the type of job you would like to take. And towards the bottom left, you will see all the jobs available to you after the filters have been applied. You can click on any job and more info will be given in the central box along with the Add Job button. And the bottom right of this page shows all the jobs on the map. So basically here, you can kind of tell. So, this is the airport we're at. So it's Lost Nation Municipal Airport. It's near the lake, gives us some options. And then what Neofly does is it's basically going to give you job types. And the difference here between, what we have available here in Neofly versus what we have in FS Economy is there's just a lot of different types of things we can do. So to some degree, that's why I think this might be a little bit more interesting. So if I go ahead and click on this basically lowers my weight down to what I can carry. And I've only got room for one passenger. So I've only got certain jobs. And basically these icons kind of give us the status. So if you look here, hard runways, which can become important if I get sick of landing on grass and so forth, because sometimes grass is really hard to find the airport. Whether ILS is available, and again, in a Cessna 152, that's not going to matter much. Is there lighted runways so that if I'm flying at night, I know that I have those options? Does it have fuel? And does the destination airport have air traffic control, which can or cannot become important? And then we can set our maximum distance. So certainly, I'm okay with the defaults it's given me. Let's see what the notification is here. All right, I have downloaded the new version since... Oh no, this is... Well, I think I'm on 4.4. It says it's today, though. And basically the ones that are colored are the ones we can do. So you can see, right now I am a cadet, and then I have to get 1,000 experience to get to the rank of second officer. And so, in this case, you need to be a second officer, second officer, second officer, first officer, first officer, and so forth. So we're going to unlock different job types as we go along, and right now it's just showing us those. So this is a passenger, this is a passenger tourist, and you can see the aircraft types we can use for these. And then this is just basic cargo, and this is illicit cargo. So you're sometimes transporting, illegal things, and those are kind of fun sometimes, just because of what you're asked to do. So I won't spoil that for anybody at this point. But right now, if I go ahead and I sort by distance, we can see, because this is intriguing to me, honestly, because at KCGF, I can take a passenger that weighs 190, but I can also take some cargo that's 120, and that adds up to 310, which is within my limit. So this would actually really let me kind of double up, which is a really tempting thing. Where here, if I was going to KCLE, the cargo weight and the passenger weight are too heavy for what I have. I can't do that. But if I go ahead and I'm going to add this selected job to the selected aircraft, and I'm also, and I'm also going to add that as well. And you can see when you're looking at a job, it's giving you the detail. Bring one passenger to Burke Lakefront. It's 17 nautical miles. It's going to give me the average experience that I'll earn, depending on the performance, what it weighs, about the the heading it is, and so forth. And then I have to load it by this time. And here it's now telling me not enough remaining cargo capacity. So it is helpful, and it's showing me now, I've got 9 left. So now if I go to this fourth item, that takes me to the flight panel. So here we go. On the left side of the panel, you'll see details and specific requirements of your selected job. Some jobs have specific requests. Mission information will again give you job information as well as a load by time. Arrival information gives helpful details about your destination, such as airport facilities and fees. In the top right, you can see your ICAO airport, the aircraft livery and payload. If any of these are red, it's because what you've selected in Microsoft Flight Simulator is not matching Neofly. The aim here is to have all 3 green. Underneath, you will see your mission map and log, and the log will populate with information and guidance as you progress throughout a flight. So we're going here, and then we're basically heading down. So this was the other airport, Burke, which is over here near downtown Cleveland. So you can see I've got to bring 1 passenger to Cuyahoga County Airport. And then for cargo, we're bringing 120 pounds of clothes to Cuyahoga County Airport. We're taking 310 pounds, 1 passenger, which is included in that weight. We're going 8 nautical miles, and we're going to get 2,590. But there are $130 of fees, and then you can see the longest runway. And once again, it has hard runways, ILS, lighted runways, and we can get fuel there if we need it. All right, and so my intent initially, especially with really short flights like this, will be to, go ahead and just bring you along, and we'll just see how this all works and kind of enjoy what is happening in all these cases. So let's see, this should be certainly long enough. We're gonna take off more during the day because the airport is this way, and I probably should start on the ramp realistically. Even though it's nice and convenient, realistically we probably want to be a little bit reasonable. And for now, I'm not going to do live weather because I think that's going to be a challenge. It's spring, and it's going to be pretty stormy. So let's load ourselves in here.
I know it's going to be a good day when my favorite pilot is working.
So as you can hear...
Pilot from dispatch. Please stand by.
I'm not honestly sure what the errors are that are coming up. I don't know what done IO is. Parking's too small for my aircraft. How is that even possible? Alright, so we are here. It certainly didn't look too small, but whatever it wants to tell me. So I'm going to just minimize that for now, but I think I'm going to leave it there rather than trying to go fish for it in the menu at the top to try to get it going. So I am going to get the airplane ready to go. I don't know that this is something we want to dig through in the series and go through the whole startup. If you do want me to share that, let me know, but I think some of it is more about the flight. So if we look here, we're now at the right airport, so it's matching the location. We've got the right plane, but we don't have the payload. And so you can see here, it was awaiting the connection. It's connected to Microsoft, waiting for matching plane. Set your parking brakes, waiting for the matching plane. Still, welcome aboard pilot. That says it was loading. So right now I have crash detection deactivated. If you turn it on, you can get more XP. And right now I have missing payload because of this, but that will change. Passengers are boarding, they're loading the cargo, and they're ready for engine start. So we'll keep kind of checking back with this so you can see how this works, because obviously that's the goal of this series, is to enjoy this career add-on. All right, so we're at about 2970. So that should get us correct there. The challenge with the Cessna 152, no GPS, no autopilot. We've got to fly this thing. So that becomes a bit of the challenge in the beginning here, is we're going to have some interesting jobs. But at this point, I should be able to go ahead and get moving. Speed up a little bit. And I think we'll go down the runway I was going to set up on. Let me set my weight. I apologize on that. So I need to be at 480 pounds. So let me simply go to weight and balance here. And I need to get myself to 480 pounds on the payload. So that should work. Take a peek, and there we go. So we have 481, which is good enough. So there we go. Payload matching, payload realism, XP granted at the end of the flight. So the only thing we're really losing XP for is the crash detection, not the ratio. It's not like there's a higher ratio of crashes or something. All right. So we're going to head over. We've got basically kind of crossing runways here. Probably want to back that off a little bit. Looks a little calm on the wind. All right, and this is runway 28 that we're going to go head toward. And as you notice, there's really no taxiways here. You're basically taxiing on the runways and then heading back as appropriate. So Guess there's a roadway down there. So again, we've got the flaps set, and this gets pretty basic at this point as far as what we're going to be able to do with a simple Cessna 152. If you've been following episodes on my channel and you're a diligent viewer and subscriber, first off, thank you. Greatly appreciate people who are, interested in the content and interested enough to stick with it. But you can see here the wind is going in this direction, obviously not terribly strong. The windsock's not moving much, so it doesn't much matter. But I think we'll go down to this point and then we'll turn ourselves around here. I think this is more than long enough. And again, this is an 8 nautical mile flight at about 220 degrees is the general direction. So I do have things off screen, obviously, like Navigraph, things that are going to help me a little bit figure out where I need to go. I'm not going to pretend I'm being full VFR or anything here. We're still using outside tools to help us. Alright, so we're on runway 28. Real question here is, it looks like we're actually good. We're on 28 there. We'll just keep an eye on that. I think that will work well enough. But just take a peek around. Pretty basic plane. Nothing too fancy about it. We are just starting out. So we need to take off, and there's only one set of runways. It's 06 and 24. So we'll be coming in on 24. Not going to go up too high, but we're at about 450 feet. So, maybe we'll go up to 1400 or something. But let's take off. So the nice thing with Neofly, there's no additional client that I need outside. Neofly itself connects and senses what's happening in Microsoft Flight Simulator. I'm not sure if it works with anything else. I don't know that it does. So, why am I am full. It's just taking a long time.
Pilot from dispatch. Fly safe.
Alright. So the nice thing is, it can sense what's happening. It gives you some of that feedback. And so as you fly different missions, it's going to give you different information. But again, we're going about 220. Obviously, now I'm at 200. So I'm going to slow this down a bit. And then I need to trim the aircraft up a little bit. I'm surprised it was set close enough because it felt like it was sinking quite a bit. So let me see if I level this out. And again, this is not, this is not a series where I'm going to teach you how to fly or anything like that. I've got if you're new to flight sim and you don't know how to do it, or you're thinking of doing it, I do have the non-aviator flight sim series. Bringing people kind of from my background where, I was not an aviator and so forth. So, so we've got an interstate or something there, it looks like. So just some entrances. So some vehicles down there, but we're heading over. And now I probably need to start getting more on my track a little bit. But yeah, we're really only about 500 feet up, but that's okay. We're not going that far. And this part of the country, while it does look like there's some rolling hills down there, nothing crazy. So, alright, I cannot trim this thing out. By the time I get there, it'll be too late. So, we'll see how things are going. Sorry, I was updating some stuff on what I can see on Navigraph. This actually might not be a bad way to go, because then I can give myself a little bit of space to line up. I probably should honestly pull the flaps up. That will help a little bit, because that may have been certainly affecting a little bit of what I have with the trim. But yeah, if I go out this way, at least we'll, let's see. I'm trying to trim the aircraft, so that is my challenge here, is struggling with that a little bit. I think we're close here. You know, because we're kind of at the limit. I mean, we're almost off the green line. We're going about 110, so it's not slow. So the airport's off, or will be off a little bit in that direction. We're still not quite where we need to be. We're really close if I was going to draw a line. So I'm going to start turning this way. And hopefully, the problem is I may not be high enough. Maybe that's it over there. I think that's the airfield. Right kind of over the center of the console. So I'm going to head that way and then move over. So I'm thinking this is the same interstate that we kind of had crossed. No, actually it might not be. Alright, that's definitely an airport, as long as it's the right airport. Because this again is where we get some challenges, like if we're flying to non-hard surface airports, and I might want to just stick with doing that, but some of it is money, honestly. So it's going to be hard if I can, you know, get more cash going to some little airport. But, you know, this is easy to see. Some of the grass fields that I've flown to in certain areas, not so much. Alright, so we're going to pull out the flaps. That will slow us down. We'll probably go one more level. So that'll probably slow us down a lot. And then we just need to head on down. Probably put flaps out the whole way. Alright, I'm not sure if I'm in danger of a stall or something, but that may have just been the outer marker, because this is a relatively large airport for, you know, this kind of aircraft, I suppose you could say. Probably want a little bit more juice, because I'm a little bit short here, but hopefully we'll have a nice landing. Now we'll back off. We'll just let it float down.
We have touchdown.
There we go. So I kind of went a little further.
Taxi to parking and shut down your engine.
Alright. So looks like we can go over there. So I'm going to do that, because there's not really a reason not to. That's just kind of more a general aviation hangar type thing. And it doesn't require you, like I could stop on the runway and shut down my engine. But obviously, you know, we want to have a little bit of reality here. You know, if I'm doing a career simulator, you're not starting on the runway, you're not suddenly just ending on the runway. So, you know, we'd know where we needed to go, but at this point we're just going to head over to these buildings over here. Not sure what they are, but it's where we're going. I'm thinking those other buildings are outside. No, they might be part of the airport. It almost looks like a wall. It's just a really weird look. Alright, I'm a little too slow here. Oops. I've got my... Come on. There we go. So I'm just trying to find where I might. Alright. Well, now it's not working. So I'm gonna kind of stop it. I must have been pointing at something that I shouldn't have been, because I was hitting my decreased throttle and it was not decreasing the throttle. So I'll try it again. And we'll just get ourselves right about here. That'll work. A little close to the building, but we're okay. So we'll shut down here. And then we'll bring up Neofly.
Transporter. Disembarkation in progress. Stand by.
So, and there is a little bit of that simulation where now, we're going to hear the passenger get out. We're going to hear cargo bumping around. And then we'll take a look at what we've got.
Transporter. Cargo unloading in progress. Stand by, pilot.
So I can get my flaps up here. That would probably make sense. I'm glad he wasn't there when we pulled in, but those don't look like clothes, so maybe he's waiting for someone else.
You are clear to start your engine.
Alright, so when you hear that from Neofly, basically, like, I could continue from this point on. And similar to FS economy, this is a persistent economy type thing. So, like, I am at this airport now. Like, when I want to take off, I'm taking off from here. But if we go back to where we were, we'll just kind of look at what the info it gives us is. So yeah, so I made a few mistakes. So I did the payload matching. I taxied above 30 knots. So I got dinged for that. I'd had landing lights off during takeoff. I forgot to do that, and during landing. So taking off, we landed. So, that gave us a blue. I'm not sure. I guess that's good. And I don't know that we, lose points for sure, or if these are, just a little bit of warning. But, smooth landing, taxi to parking. Again, taxi speed greater than 30. Gives me the flight time. So aircraft stress respect bonus granted. So I think basically because we landed nicely, we get that payload realism, so that's setting the weight appropriately. And then we do have qualifications in here for certain type of aircraft. So we have an A qualification score that grants me an XP rate of 1 time. So I don't get any multiplier. And so my total XP awarded is 26 for the flight. So, plus I get, I think, the bonuses and so forth. So I've got, the 3 and the 8. I'm not sure how I got 36. That's always where, oh, I see, because we got then 10 for the 5 for the passenger and 5 for the cargo delivery. And then obviously our payments. So it's unloading. We had to pay the 130. Shows us what fuel we used. So we have that type of information available to us. But if I look here now, like now, these are jobs. So because I used some fuel, I have more weight available. But you'll notice the list did shrink when I clicked on the 330, because by default it's going to show you all the things you have available. So you can see, like, all these airports, these first 2, they don't have hard runways. They don't have anything. Where this one has a hard runway lights and fuel. So depending on your fuel situation and so forth, you obviously need to be careful about that. And so, We don't have a whole lot of jobs here. You know, again, this one's intriguing as potentially another next thing to do, which will be the next episode. Because at this point, this one's going to be long enough. But if we go back to the hangar here, you'll see now, we'll see detailed information about our current aircraft. Under information, you'll see your current aircraft model and livery. And it's mandatory you match the livery in Neofly to the one in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Unless you're doing freelance mode, which normally, freelance mode just lets you do whatever, and then it's like, why use this? So I'm not planning on doing anything in freelance mode, at least at this point. If you would like to change the livery, you can pay to paint it with the brush icon. So that's what this is. And then I can pick any other livery I own, but obviously then it costs me money. In the administration section, you can pay to insure your aircraft. A payout will be made if you crash. You can also sell your aircraft and pay to have an aircraft moved to the pilot's location. Maintenance is where you buy your fuel and repair your aircraft. So now we can see we have 89 out of 156 gallons. So we didn't have a full aircraft, and also we're going to have wear and tear on the airframe and the engine. In the mission list, you'll see your jobs you have added. It's possible to take more than one job if you have the capacity to do so, and the list will be blank if you haven't taken any. And in the cargo section, you'll see any market items you purchased that are loaded on the aircraft. Cargo or jobs will be displayed here with a padlock to show that the good is locked to a job. We can see the info here. We can see we've got 16 minutes on the airframe. This is an A-class aircraft. Because the other thing we can do is we can, buy things, we can buy goods. So if we go here, you can compare, sell, and do market goods. In the left column, you'll see all the goods available to buy at your current location. And in the central column, you'll see what the selected airport is buying. And in the right column, you can see any goods currently loaded in the remaining cargo indicator. You also have a useful map showing all the airports. And you can right-click on any airport to show the sellers and buyers market and set up a transit mission for an AI pilot if we have one, which we don't. The magnifying glass gathers all the information, displays location prices. So if I don't find a mission that I want, like I could say, hey, I'm going to buy phones. I mean, in this case, no, I guess it's 20. I thought the weight was 461, but that's the quantity. I can buy phones and then find somewhere that's buying phones and just transport them and go sell it. Wow, is this a $5 million artifact? I think so. And so then in the aircraft market panel, we can search for aircraft we want to purchase or rent. We can do them by name. And on the right side, you'll see detailed info. Below is the cost, so forth. I won't go through that in detail. But the difference here, again, you can see, yes, the prices are what you'd expect. They're in the millions. But I can buy airliners in Neofly at some point, and fly them and so forth. It's not all simple general aviation that I can't grow out of and so forth. But what this shows me is that this airport, these are the planes available. And I could rent this plane, but these others you'd have to buy, and some of them are new and so forth. And so you can always take a peek at that. So the other thing that came up is the qualifications. So here's the qualifications panel. And this is where you pay to take tests so you can fly more aircraft. Along the top, you'll see all the qualifications along with the star rating. Select the test you'd like to take by clicking on one. And next, you choose your test location by selecting one from the checklist and click the Add button, and you'll be loaned the aircraft or an aircraft for the test, and this will be waiting for you in your hangar at the chosen location. You'll need to make your way to the location to take the qualification test flight, and in the column you'll see 3 icons next to the description. Hover your mouse over those icons to see the test requirements. You can take the qualification test as many times as you like, but the trick is you can lose stars as well as earning them. So you can see we can get a 3-star rating in anything. And this was where it told us we had 1 star, so we just had 1 time information. So, if I want to test for A, aircraft, and get better, here are my options. But again, I'm, 64 nautical miles away from any of these to be able to try them. But it's showing me where it's at. So if I wanted to get closer, so I don't necessarily need to do anything with this, but again, then I can pick, B, and like we can see here, Wadsworth, if we get down there. Never done the Groom and Goose. That could be interesting. You can then take a test, and if you pass it, and again, the cost is $530, so it's not free, but then I'm able to use those type of aircraft where right now I can't. But that's the thing, like you could go all the way up here to F, and then you can see like these are the Boeing 747-8s, and where I could get certified in them. And I don't believe there's a requirement that I have to get all of these before I can do an F. I think I can jump to any of them. And it includes helicopters, and there are military certifications that we can do. So Neofly definitely has a lot of interesting things. And then we've got our logs, so we can see the details. So here, landing like beacon taxi speed, I kind of messed those things up, so I wasn't safe. And it doesn't give you, I can't click on them and get any more detail. Like this is what I have. And then there's the finance panel. So there's a balance column. We can also take out loans if we want. So you can see at this point, this is my rating. So I could take up to a $50,000 loan if I wanted. But it's showing here, we had our initial deposit. We had to pay the airport fee. And then we got our passenger and our cargo mission, and we can see things, and as we go up. So you can see there's 5 rankings we can progress to. And I'm sure they take quite a while to get up to that other level. And then the issue is, like you can see, we get new mission types at certain ranks. I think we unlock the mission types pretty quickly. I think what I'd be looking for is going to be something like a Cessna 172 would be wonderful, because then I would have GPS system, autopilot, and so forth. That would make things a little bit better. I just don't know what the cost is going to be. You can see, this Flight Design CT-01 livery is already $102,000. So I probably need to work with this, or I'm going to have to take out loans or whatever for quite some time, and and go from there. But at this point, I think that is good enough for our first episode. So we've gone through here, and we've only got the one plane. You can see, there's a big long line here. We can eventually have quite a fleet. We'll see if that makes sense, or if it makes sense to sell off aircraft eventually, or things like that. But hopefully this will be a little bit more interesting to me. I find it more interesting than something like FS Economy, because it's just easier to kind of get into the flow of the story and so forth. Definitely let me know what you think. Let me know any comments you've got, as always, on any videos. I'm love to interact with folks, and good, bad, or otherwise, just get some information. But if you've enjoyed this and haven't dropped a like, please consider that. It helps spread the information on YouTube and helps the reach of the channel. And if you're not a subscriber, please consider that. It helps you see what is happening on the channel when things like this come up that maybe you didn't hear about before or whatever. That way you're not just searching for things and finding me. You're able to see what is coming out and what I'm throwing out there for you to enjoy. And you're not going to get bombarded with email or anything. You can put a notification button on, and then you'll get some notifications, but all of that's in your control. But if you're not a subscriber, please consider that. And with that, I will see you next time.